Hello, my name's John Mccard. I'm here to tell you a bit about my story. My addiction started pretty much really early. I had my first drink that I remember when I was about 9 years old. It was at a New Year's Eve party. I was given a little bottle of French beer and I took that drink and I thought, yeah, wow, this is amazing. And then after that, what I did was I just went round the room as soon as everyone was too drunk to realise what I was doing. I went round the room and just started finishing off everybody else's drink. I realise now that I drunk probably that first time I drunk to blackout. I didn't know that then, but I know that now. And it sort of progressed really quickly. From that point, I'd go out most weekends and try to drink, and then rapidly into smoking pot and taking other drugs like speed and LSD and ecstasy. But it pretty much wasn't anything I didn't take, apart from magic mushrooms, and I only didn't take that because I didn't come across it. I would have done. And I wouldn't say it was all bad, but there was a lot of bad consequences started early on. It took me to jail. I crashed a car into a house. I got stabbed by a drug dealer and I ended up in a coma. And after coming out of the coma and learning to walk again after 5 weeks in a coma, the first thing I did when I could walk again was get in a taxi and go and get a drink and ring up a drug dealer. I was more scared of being inside my own mind than I was of dying. And I didn't know a way out. I didn't see a way out. I was stuck. But I found a way out. I found that way out in the 12-step program. Someone come to the hospital and he spoke to me about his own addiction and that he'd been in recovery for 15 years, and it gave me a bit of hope. He said to me that I need never take a drink or a drug again. He didn't tell me that I never would. He just said that I need never take one ever again. And I thought, if it's worked for him, then maybe this stuff could work for me. And I had a choice to make at that point. It was either they was going to put me in a hostel, and in this hostel it wasn't a dry house, it was somewhere in an area where I used to drink and use drugs, and I knew that by the end of the first day in that hostel I would be drinking and using drugs. Or it was to go to this rehabilitation centre that had been offered to me and to work a 12-step program. And any normal person would class that as a definite decision. Oh, I've got to go and do that because I'm going to live by doing that. But I seriously had to think about it. I had to think, do I go or do I go to where the drugs are? Luckily, I was blessed enough to actually go to the rehab centre because at that point I think I chose life. And I just did what was suggested to me to do in a recovery program, and I worked through the steps and I started to get better. Day by day, one day at a time I got better, and one day at a time I didn't pick up a drink or a drug, and one day at a time I would start dealing with the problems that I'd accumulated, and one day at a time I started becoming healthier, spiritually, mentally and physically. I didn't go into recovery to find God, but it's the best thing I found in recovery. And now I know true forgiveness and freedom and happiness. I'm able to help other people. I couldn't even help myself. I couldn't even do up my shoes and they were Velcro at the end of my addiction. But today, I'm able to help other people, and it's an amazing feeling to be able to watch somebody's lights go on in their eyes, like somebody did with me. And it was freely given to me, and I just love that feeling of being able to help them and identify with them and learn from them as much as they learn from me. This recovery is a process that I believe I will be in for the rest of my life, but it's the best decision I never really made for myself. I've learned a lot more about me I remember in step 3 when I had to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood him. And I thought, well, where's John in that? When I turn my will and my life over to God, where's John in that? But when I did that, I now realise that I'm more of me now than I have ever been. Life today in recovery is, it's like I've done a whole 180 turn. It's totally different. I had this life where everything was like, where I took drugs and drink every day, and I wasn't really a great person, and I won't say it was all bad, but now today I've got a whole new life where I have my family are back in my life. I have real friends that identify with me. I have a job. I'm a leader on a recovery course, being able to help other people. I have my own flat. I have a car. But the best gift I've learned in recovery is that it doesn't really matter if I've got all that stuff or not. Is that I can be all right without it. I'm never alone anymore. I have God in my life.